Hey kids, today I'm going to show you how to draw this lovely crunchy apple. So get your pens and pencils ready and off we go. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is in the middle of your page draw a circle. It's a very rough circle this. I'm going to make this circle kind of wider at the top, like that, than it is at the bottom. You can do it quite loose, just like the way I've drawn it here. Roughly round about like that. I can neaten it all up later. And you just need that kind of a shape going on. That's the first thing we're going to do. The second thing is to draw a line, which I'm going to do right at the top of the circle, and it's going to be almost like a smile, like a slight curve at the top, like that. Okay, that's the second thing we're going to do. Oops. Then in the centre of this line, I want to do two parallel lines that come up and curve off to the left. So I've got one there and one here. So these two parallel lines, the space in between each one, shorter at the top than it is, shorter at the bottom, sorry, than it is at the top. And where I've got the top of these two lines, I'm going to do an oval like that. I'm just going to close them both up with an oval like that. Okay, now coming from this line on this side, I'm going to do another line, just the one, from the same point at the bottom there, and it's going to be curving off to the right like that. This is going to be the leaf of the apple. Pardon me. Now on either side of that line I want to do two more curves coming out from it. So one will curve out that way and it'll come and meet the end at the top, curving up slightly like that, yeah. And at the bottom another one curving down and again meeting up at the top there. Okay, that's the leaf of the apple. Don't worry about this, I'm going to neaten all this up in a minute. Now from the centre line you want to do just some little strokes. Some can be closer together than others. Coming up to the top line and some coming up down to the bottom line like that. That's the leaf of the apple drawn. Now I need a highlight which is going to run across the top of there, which is going to be like a sausage shape. So I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to ink this piece in, I'm just going to have it there as a guide to show where the highlight of the apple would be. And the same, another one, just a circle on the left hand side of that one, sausage shape there. Again, I'm not going to ink it in, I'm just going to have it there as a guide. And in much the same way, I'm going to do a curved line which follows along the bottom line with a bit of a gap between, and I'm going to bring it up this side and gradually meet up with this side line here. So it's kind of like that. Okay, just before I start inking it in, I'm just going to pad out this line. I'll just define this line a little bit better. I'll just quickly get that in, get the bottom bit in. Perhaps I could do a little double dip. I can have a little bit in the middle like that. And I want to bring it up this side, all the way up. I'm going to bring this bit out a little bit, just pad it out a bit at that side. Like that, so it's ready to ink in. Just going to get my rubber, rub out a few of these lines just just so I have the line I want shown there. It's a bit of a messy rubber, but never mind, you get the picture. Okay, so it's ready to ink in now, just about. Just neaten it up, neaten it up. Okay, you can always neaten up when you draw as well, so when I start inking, which I'm going to do now, I'll neaten it up further still. Right, so I'm going to kill this off a bit, this little bit of a dimple. I'm just going to put a line across the bottom like that. And then from the middle of that line, I'm going to draw this line, coming all the way up here, all the way up, neatening it up as I go, and bring it all the way to the top to meet where the leaf is, where I'm going to stop. So it'll be roughly like that on that side. You can turn your paper around if it makes it easy, like I do. Again, on the other side, do the same thing. Pencil in this line, or should I say ink in this line, and bring it all the way up to the top, so it meets the stalk. Now, if you've got a little bit of a gap in between your stalk and your leaf, you want to just complete the whole shape by adding the dash in there where there might be a slight gap. Okay, next I'm going to get this line drawn in, which is just simply starting lightly, then applying pressure in the centre of the line, and to release the pressure off a bit so it kind of tapers at both sides. I mean, it's not exact, but it gives you the idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, the same thing with the stalk, ending at the end of the oval, and the same on this side. Just bring up these two parallel lines and finish off by drawing in the little oval at the end, like that. Now with the leaf, I'm going to start lightly, very light, and then apply pressure to the centre of the leaf, then ease the pressure off a bit up towards the end, which will give you a slight more of a thickness to the line in the centre. Draw the leaf in both sides, one there, draw this side of the leaf in, right round, one nice continuous line. And I just need to complete very lightly. You could use a smaller nibbed pen if you want. I want to draw these detail lines in. I'm hardly pressing on at all. I'm just literally touching the paper. Just touching it, just enough to get a line. Learning how to apply pressure with your pen is good practice for any kind of artist to do any kind of inking. So that's that done. Now all I have to do now is to rub out the lines, and then I can start colouring the apple in. Okay, so now I'll try and get all these lines rubbed out, you know, hardly shifting. Make sure you don't rub out the lines that you've drawn for the highlight and for the shadow. You just want to get rid of those lines around the outside, like that. I'm going to start with the green pen, and what I'm going to do is do a light crosshatch pattern over the entire apple. I'll see if I've got a better green than that. It's running out a bit. Yeah, that might be a bit better. if you notice, I'm leaving the area where I want the shadow. I'm just going to do the whole of this green area, leaving the shadow and leaving the highlights areas. So I'll just bring the pattern up to them lines like this. Over the whole apple. Okay, so I'm going to fill in this area now, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tighten the patterns up a bit so the lines are a little bit closer to each other in the shaded area, just like this. Just get them patterns much closer to each other, those lines. Like that, so it's like a heavier pattern. And do it all over shaded area of the apple, just so it looks like it's a bit more of a shadow happening. You know, if you see any like areas where you think, oh, there might be a slight gap there, you just add a few more lines over the top like that. Like that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the whole area in yellow over the whole apple, including the shadow. Oh, see if I can get a decent yellow. I think that one was a bit broke. Just go over the top lightly. You can leave slight gaps in this yellow. You can do like loose lines like you did, so you can allow a lot of the paper to show through. And this will give you that nice light green kind of apple colour. Just go over the whole apple. Intensify the colour more if you want in the shadow. But your apple could be red if you wanted. You could make it like a yellow and red apple, like a Cox's Pippin type of thing. This is more like a golden delicious type of apple, like your green crunchy variety. Just loosely over the whole apple. It'll take a while to do, but you'll get the result you want in the end. That's the main apple coloured in. All I have to do now is the stalk and the leaf. Now with the leaf, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some flick shading, which means you basically press on your pen at the beginning and flick out towards the edge like that, flick shading. It works really well if you have a pen which is almost run out. It works really well. It works better if you're using an old pen. You're just flicking up like that. You can even leave slight gaps between the lines to create like a little highlight, like I've done with that one. I think I'll do the same there. And I'll start hard up against this line, and I'm going to bring this round with little flicks like that, and then just finish off leaving a slight highlight there on that side. Now we're going to do the same with this side of the leaf, but we're going to start at this line and head towards the centre with that flick. So I'll just turn the paper around so I'm facing the right direction, and I'm just going to flick up towards the centre. Remember, when you're doing this, is to follow the lines. Yeah, you're following the shape of the leaf like that. You're not just doing it in any old direction. If you follow the shape of the leaf, it'll give you that, the feeling of the leaf shape being rounded like that, because they are still lines. You know, it's not like smooth shading. You can even go over the top and just add a bit density to do it. Do the same with this piece here. Do the same with this. This is why if your felt tip pens start to run out, still keep a hold of them, because they're still very useful for this kind of thing. You know, if you can actually do shading with them, it's magic. I'm just going to finish off this leaf. I'm going to bring this line, start heading towards this line here, giving you that like nice shape. And I'm going to do the same with the yellow. I'm going to flick up towards the edge, just shade in that direction all the way around. Leaving the highlight like I did before, like that. And if you're not quite confident with it, you can just practice on a piece of paper. Just practice that kind of thing, you know, the flick shading. It takes some mastering, but if you practice it, you'll become really good at it, and then you'll be able to use felt tip pens like colored pencils, but probably even better, you know, because the density of the colour is greater in felt tip pens. They've got the nice bright colours, and these are really cheap. These are like the cheapest ones that you get, so you know there's no excuses. You can achieve these effects with the cheapest of markers, felt tip pens rather. Right, I'm going to do the stalk, and I'm going to go in the direction of these lines, because that's the grain, that'll be the grain of the wood, so you're following that grain of the wood. If you really want to like become good at it, you could practice doing this type of shading on the actual apple body. You know, it's just another way of doing it. And just lines, Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade the rest of that in orange. You can leave a slight highlight if you want. just on the end there. I'll just leave a slight highlight there. Perhaps colour the end in like that. And that's basically it. That's how to draw an apple in shade and colour. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe to see more videos.